Our values are values of values. Our values guide our behaviors day by day, informing us how we act, decisions we make, and how we work with others to do what is right. Our values never stop us from learning, improving how we think, act, respect one another, and draw strength from our differences. Join Miriam Owoduni on OSBC TV Start Time Channel 113 and Free TV Channel 502 every Tuesday by 6:30 p.m. to 6:55 p.m. to relish the program Our Values. Our values are must to watch.
Good evening, viewers. My name is Mariam Owoduni. Welcome to another exciting episode on our values this beautiful evening. As you all know, that our values guides our behavior, informing how we act, the decisions we make, and how we draw strength from one another. Yes, and on today's episode, we are going to be discussing parenting. Yes, parenting. I know you'll be wondering that why parenting. Yes, we have a lot to talk about when it comes to parenting, and I am not the only one here. I have Mrs. Bukola Ejiade with me, and we are going to be discussing what parenting all entails on this beautiful episode. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Can you please introduce yourself to the viewers once again?
Okay, good evening, viewers. I'm Bukola Ejiade.
Oh, okay.
I'm a teacher.
Oh, okay.
And a development worker. I'm also a wife, okay, and I'm a mother.
You said you are a teacher. That's the first one I grabbed. Because as a teacher, you would have seen different children and you interact with them. You've seen different issues and you'll be wondering that how come these are happening? Are these really happening in our society?
Definitely. There are so many things
are happening
on earth that you can't even think of.
And when we check it, still boils down to parenting.
Exactly. The family. The family.
Ma, what is parenting in a nutshell?
Now, parenting is a lifelong process. Most people don't know. We only talk about nurturing a child. Yes, it is. But I want to tell us that it is a lifelong process of nurturing, of facilitating, of building, of providing, of raising, leading a child's developmental growth. So parenting is not just having a child. It supersedes the issue of being a biological mother or being a biological father. It's in those days that we have that, when we really have the values, the cultural values, traditional norms that are actually working. But now, parenting is more than you fathering a child or mothering a child. And so that is the reason why it is a lifelong thing. It is not just to have a child or breastfeed the child. It's more than that. So deep, very spiritual. Parenting is also a calling. It's a ministry. Yes, it is a calling.
So one can't just wake up one day and say, okay, I want to be a parent.
At all. And that's why sometimes people will just say, "Ṣé ìyá dẹ̀ ni ìwọ yìí?"
Àbí ọmọ ní ìyá ọmọ yìí dà.
Ìyá ọmọ yìí gan dey mean ṣé ìyá ni ìwọ yìí? That means it's deep. So you may not be a biological father. You may not be a biological father, but yet people will still refer to you as a parent. So parenting is deep. It's a calling, it's a ministry. It supersedes more than fathering or mothering a child. It's a lifelong process.
Thank you, ma. As you all know, that parenting is very, very deep. And one, as a person, can't just wake up one morning and say, okay, I want to be a parent, and that is it. And you think, okay, let me look for a wife and start mothering or fathering a child.
And that is where the problem lies.
That is where the problem.
That is where our problems lies here.
That is why we are here, so that we can discuss it and entertain and educate viewers at home too. Yes, so that they will know the do's and don'ts. Ma, what are the responsibilities of a parent?
That is good. You know, I said the other time that it is a lifelong process. The responsibilities are nurturing, training, leading, all right? Not just leading.
All right.
Building, developing, interacting, communicating. All these are values that a parent must have. It is when you have all this, it is the composition of all this that makes you a parent. So and that makes, it is that responsibility in you that people will see in you, okay, she's nurturing that child to greatness, to leadership role, to this. And that is why it's been referred to as a lifelong process. It involves so many things, responsibilities. You must be medically alert, emotionally alert, psychologically stable, socioeconomic buoyant. It's not that you have so much, but at least
to be able to cater
you
for
should
them.
be able to cater. And that's the problem we are having these days. These boys and girls, they will just be sleeping around. And at the end of the day, you see so many issues of teenage pregnancy. And of course, the parent. And that's why we always say, like teachers will say, the parent, Maga, is the child. So a child giving birth to another child. So in that process, we don't have a parent. You don't. It's what you have that you give. You are a child. So how can you nurture another child? And so we have these issues all around us. And so parenting is a serious responsibility. And like I said the other time, I said parenting is more than fathering a child, being a biological father. A caregiver can be a parent.
Sure.
Yes. Neighbors can even be a parent. Can you beat that?
Better parent.
Yes, teachers. I've seen so many cases that we take up the role of parents in my school
And you
as
mold the
teachers.
child.
Yes, because you buy food for the child. You give them pocket money. You buy books. Bags, so you bring and give, because that child is lacking parental responsibility. The parents are not there for him or her.
Ma, we've said that. Now I want to ask a question: that have you seen a situation? Some will say, okay, I want to be a loving parent. I want to love my child. And can they be too loving?
No, you can't be too loving. I don't really understand that you be too loving to a child.
Yes,
that is it. You must love your child. There is nothing like too loving. Just like God. Are we going to say God is over loving us? Do you understand? So that is love. Love is a serious thing. When you love somebody, it's unconditional. You can't say it's too much. Abi is not. When it is love, if you love your child, you love your child. So there is nothing like otepoju. It's only tiobanito, and if it's tiobatito, that means it's not love. So one of those things that a parent must show is to love that child.
Why I ask that question is there are some parents that tend to give up on their children. That when they do certain things, they say, "Oh, she won't come mobini, ti su mi, mo she mo," and that child gets to start misbehaving another. That's why I ask that question: that can a parent be too loving?
No. You must just. You don't give up on a child. That child, there are so many factors why that child is behaving that way. Then you begin to look at the root of the problem. It's not that child now. Everybody wants to do good. Everybody wants to behave well. But so many factors, parental, environmental, sure you get,
yes.
the negative influence, the peer group influence. Of course. In fact, so terrible. So that is it. Parents must not give up on any child. There is no child that cannot make it.
Okay.
I've seen so many cases. I have so many cases. There was a time when I was a teacher at Ibadan. I started at Ibadan. There was this part. I used to tell my students every year.
Okay.
I used to tell them that story. This particular boy, very naughty, very dirty. He will come to school maybe around 9. And if he enters my class, I say, you will do well in life. That's what I will just be saying that. How can you be like this? Where are your parents? They've gone to the market to do what? My mom is a trader. What about your father? I don't even understand. I've forgotten. And academically, it was not sound.
Wow.
Very, very dirty.
And he still has those attributes too.
I want to tell you, after maybe 5 or 6 years, I couldn't remember him again. He was the one. He remembered me.
And he came to
each time I talk about it, I used to feel emotional. When I saw him, said me say Jade, I want ya Aladua now. They used to call me Aladua. Say Jade Aladua. I knew he must be a student. And he was saying, "Mommy, so you've forgotten me." He didn't go to school.
Okay.
He didn't go to the university, but he made it.
Wow.
And at that time, he was selling cars. You can't believe it. He was an auto dealer.
And he was doing good for himself.
I'm telling you. That day, he even said, "Mommy, If you want a car, just take one and come and start paying instrumentally. I was just looking at him. He was just like saying, ẹ ti gbàgbé tí àwọn kinní kan máa ń ṣe pé báyìí tẹ́yìn máa ṣàdúrà pé you will do well. So there is no child that cannot do well.
So we should not give up on any child.
Don't give up on any child.
Don't feel this child is taking too much of my time.
Why is he behaving this way? Maybe it's parental. Then let's go through that parental issue. Is it environmental? Let's go through the negative peer influence. Let's go through that. Is it the social media influx? Let's go through and let's work on those things. Parents shouldn't give up.
Thank you very much, yes. You are just joining us on our values this beautiful evening. The topic we are discussing is parenting, and we have Mrs. Bukola Ejiade here, and we've been discussing a lot. She said we should not give up on any child. Do you have a child beside you or around your environment that you think, okay, this child is stressing me, is being naughty, silly and all that, and we can't get to know what his problem is? No, let's call that child, let's show them love. Yes, when you talk to people with love, they tend to open up to you. Don't let us forget, don't give up on anybody. Ma, like I said, you know, there are some parents, they believe they are parents, and when you tell them their responsibilities, they feel you are asking for too much or you are being impossible. They feel ṣebí mo ti bí gbogbo èèyàn ti rí pé mo ti bí kóhun náà ṣe kinní kan. No, as a parent, what are their responsibilities and duties of parents?
Okay, like I said the other time, parent has so much role to play in the life of a child. Parenting is a lifelong thing. You don't stop, you don't give up. From conception to nurturing, to raising, to talking, communicating, even right from conception, start talking to that child. You will do well in life. You will love me. I will love you. Be a great child. I want you to be a doctor. I want you to be positive. A lawyer. You begin to be positive, begin to speak to that child. And when you now have the child, start providing. Let that child felt the love right from the time. At home, the child start noticing, start watching your utterances, the way you react to issues. Look at, the child will be looking at the face of the father, the mother. If you have siblings or you have other relatives at home, the child will start looking at, and it's what you do or what they are doing that the child will be doing. If a child is raised in a house where every time it's violence, it's domestic abuse, it's sexual violence, all that, that child will become that. That is, so we need to be very, very careful. So the parent has so many responsibilities. You can't say just one. Apart, you must love that child. It is your responsibility. And as we are saying, we are not talking about biological parent only. We are still talking about guardians. We are talking about caregivers. We are talking about those people that are working in these homes.
Okay. Orphanage and
homes. This is for them too. So that you will not say, it is your responsibility. Compulsory, you must be intentional about it. At that time, you are the parent. And you must show love, you must communicate. Let that child know when you are annoyed, when you are angry, when you are fine, so that the child will be able to communicate, will be able to move closer, and you must be interactive. Okay, so what's the problem now? It's not every time that you'll be shouting. It's not every time that you'll be screaming. Sometimes, okay, come, so what's the problem? Let's talk now. No, you have to open up to me. You know, I'm here. That's what I tell my children. I'm your best friend.
So just talk, open up.
Hope anything. Bad news, let me hear. Good news, I'm here for you. So parents must be alive to their responsibilities. Parenting is not an easy thing, and that's why I said it's the calling. It's like being an imam or a pastor. You must be alive to your responsibilities.
And we should be
parents must provide for their children. And that's where the issue of the socio-economic issues comes in now. You will not say, it is your responsibility.
So there is no
excuse. If you are not ready to cater for a child, don't bring that child to the world. Don't tell the parent, okay, bring your child, I want to nurture, I want to take care of that child for you. Some people will pick a child from Lagos, bring to Shogbu, for that child just to be suffering. It doesn't make any sense.
Yes.
If you are not ready, please release the child back. For them. Yes, and that's why we don't want to limit that parenting to biological fathers and mothers. You can be a parent. You can, like, you know, when you were talking about my friend now, you said she's my mother.
Yes.
That is it. That is it. So parents must be alive. If you are working in an orphanage home, be alive to those children. At that point in time, you are the mother. Yeah, you are their father.
And another thing children tend to notice is when they are 5 or 6 in a place, and you tend to love one more than the others, and you show it.
And you are showing it.
Yes, we should make efforts not to allow that.
You must not do that. Okay, because we are humans, we need to be factual. Because we are humans, maybe tend to love one more than the other, maybe because of some
attributes
or characters or sentiments. Sometimes we just have 1 or 2 sentiments, we weave them together and say, oh my, it is even sinful to do that. But as humans, of course, we may have just because of 1 or 2 things, but please don't show it. You must be fair to all. You must love them. In a situation where the child is saying, I could know that mommy loves you more than all of us, there is a problem already in that house. So you must get into that situation and make sure it doesn't escalate.
Thank you very much, ma. Yeah, if you are listening to us on today's program on our values, the topic we are discussing is parenting. Yes, and we've been discussing the responsibilities of parents. As a parent, we should make conscious efforts. Yes, don't just wake up one morning and say, okay, I want to be a parent. I'm financially capable to be a parent, so I'm ready. You are not ready. There are lots of things that need to be learned, that we need to learn and unlearn when it comes to parenting. And the way we are tutored then, or the way our parents was bringing us up then, we can't bring children of nowadays. Yes, we need to learn, unlearn and relearn some things about parenting nowadays, because these kids that we have now, may God help us with them. Let's get into town. We went out to listen to some people about parenting.
Have changed, and we can say that there is a need for parents to begin to understand the children, to be able to understand what is attainable in this current dispensation. Parenting is a lot different from what it used to be before, and now there is a need for parents to become emotional about parenting. And I think there has been a lot of gaps. You see a whole lot of divorce issues, and it's already affecting the children because the father is somewhere in another part of the world, the mother is somewhere different again. So there is not that collective responsibility on the part of the parent. Like it takes 2 to tango, right? It takes a father and a mother to bring up a child. There is what a father contributes to the child, there is what a mother contributes to the child. But nowadays, because of the divorce rate that is astronomical, we have a father just contributing, or most of the time even mother. So you see a mother raise a son that is a male, is more of a feminine son than a man, because the input of a father is absent. And at the same time too, you see instances where a father raises a child and he just raises a child without the emotional aspect of the child develop. So I think that there is a need for parents to first of all know what they are getting into before birthing a child, because it's not just about giving birth to children, it's about being available for the children physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. I think that the idea or the style I would want to have is first of know the temperament of each child. Each of the children have their personality. We have the melancholy, the choleric, the phlegmatic, and I think that there is a way you motivate each of those children. There is a way that you know what works for them. So by knowing their temperament, you can be able to reach out to them. You can be able to relate with them. Each of the children, they differ. For instance, now while growing up, I don't like you to beat me. Well, you can beat me, I might still, it doesn't change anything. But what I don't like is, don't insult me. Don't, ma sorrow see me, if I can say it. Me like horror. So I like that. I would want to prevent any instances where my parents would have to lambast me or would have to rebuke me actually with words. So for me, words work for me. For some children, you have to use cane for them. So know each of the children, know what they require. And I think also another thing I intend to do is to go to classes where parenting are being taught, parenting styles. I don't want to just give birth to children and I'll be raising them and I'll be trying to understand the children as we go on. No, right from beginning we already know, okay, this is what it takes, this is what it requires. Read books on it, we take classes on it. Those are the styles I intend to adopt when I have my children.
Thank you very much.
My name is Omar Mohammed Mudassir. On the issue of parenting, it's a responsibility. It's a responsibility given to every parent. Being a parent does not just mean is just for free. There are responsibilities attached to it, which you must deliver sincerely, and you have to be committed to it, first and foremost. What we have these days is that a lot of us are not committed to parenting. We don't see it as a responsibility that need to be discharged. So we see it as a giving birth. Once you give birth to children, then that is all. You have that responsibility to nurture them, to make them to be better for the society, because making the society better is the most important thing that every parent should take into cognizance. Your children must add to the value and the goodness of the society in general. If you are raising children that is going to constitute nuisance to the society, you already know you are failing in your responsibilities. So adding value to the society, making the society a better one, is the sole responsibility of parenting and of every parent, and that is what parenting is all about. Yeah, the parenting style is that as a parent, first and foremost, you will have to recognize that God has created everyone and has given everyone will. Everybody has will, even as small as your child could be. He or she has a will. You have to respect that, but at the same time, you are to be a guide. You are to be a guide for them, not a dictator. You are to be a guide them towards what you feel is correct. Show them what you want them to see. From there, they can see better than you do, but at least you have to give them that foundation of being able to recognize what is good. That is very key. You have to show them that, give them that foundation of recognizing what is good. They can begin to see better things than you do, but give them that sole foundation, first and foremost, to be able to recognize the good from the bad. That is very important.
Parenting in the olden days should not be different from parenting now. Even though times are changing. But as long as there is the fear of God, if we have parents that have fear of God, they will be able to impart the fear of God in their own children. The waywardness we are having nowadays will not be there if you have parents who are God-fearing. When we were small, you cannot misbehave anyhow. Even neighbors, about 3-4 streets away from your own house, they will deal with you when you misbehave. It's not like now that if they beat anybody's child, take for example what happens in schools. You see parents going to use police to arrest teachers. You can't do that in those days. But if you have the fear of God, you'll be able to tell your child what. But when parents of nowadays don't even have God in their life themselves, how can they now train the children that they have? So what I'm just going to be saying is that as much as possible, these young parents now, or parents of nowadays, should forget about what is going on in the world and go to the word of God. Bring up your children in a godly manner. The Bible says that bring up a child in the way it will grow. And when the child is grown, it will not depart from that, no matter the situation of the country.
Welcome back. We are just joining us on our values. Yes, the topic we are discussing is parenting. Ma, on final note, what word of advice do you have for those that just want to start parenting?
Thank you. For the intending parents,
yes,
I want to advise that they should be prepared.
They should be prepared.
They should be ready. It's a consistent process. It's an intentional thing. It's not that Obamilojiji. It's not an accidental.
And Yoruba people will say, "Oh, it's ready,
ready." So they must be ready. The man and the woman, they will sit down. They will talk about it. This is the way we want to raise these children. We don't want to raise our own children like this. We want our children to be better off. want them to be self-reliant to the society, want them to be independent, want them to be loving, want them to be good children. We don't want them to be confused set of children. So they must be ready. They must prepare for it. And they must start the process. The nurturing, the training, and leading them to God, of course. But I do say, whatever you don't have, you can't give. If you don't have God, you don't even go to church or you don't go to mosque. You don't pray, and you want your children to do that. It's not possible. So as a parent, you must be a role model. Not just a role model, but a good role model, so that they will be able to pick from that trait from you. Likewise, those that are in the orphanages, the caregivers and the guardians.
Thank you very much, ma'am. And thanks for joining us on today's episode, Mrs. Bukola Ejiade. My name is Mariam Owodoni. Thanks for joining us on today's episode. And don't forget, as parents and intending parents, we should make conscious efforts to be a parent. Bye for now.
Values. Our values guide our behaviors day by day, informing us how we act, decisions we make, and how we work with others to do what is right. Our values never stop us from learning, improving how we think, act, respect one another, and draw strength from our differences. Join Miriam Owoduni on OSBC TV Start Time Channel 113 and Free TV Channel 502 every Tuesday by 6:30 p.m. to 6:55 p.m. to relish the program Our Values, a must to watch.